Reddites who have dated very attractive people but weren't that smart. What was the final straw? She thought that Canada was in the middle of the United States, right next to Colorado. I wonder if she heard something about Wyoming being Colorado's Canada and it stuck with her. The day we got into a fight on whether or not rabbits lay eggs. They don't lay eggs, Katie. Easter is a lie. Go read a book. Totally read that in John Oliver's voice. Legitimately thought that birds did not have brains, and that they would fly into her if she didn't move. It made it difficult to spend time together outdoors. She thought the hot unbearable weather was caused by wildfires in Florida. We live in California. If we have a power outage, will my car turn on? Visiting Japan. Do they have sushi restaurants there? Fasapum. My friend's girlfriend at the time asked my friend, in front of about 5 of us, if bacon was a meat. Needless to say, they didn't last very long. Francis Bacon. When she found out I was Jewish, she said, I thought all of you got holocausted. She thought KFC hot wings were bones dipped in chicken meat. It's KFC. She might be right. She swore up and down that I was the father of her baby that was 5 months old when we met. That's some kind of crazy. Being bored and having to fill up time with sex is only good for so long, then it just becomes hollow, which sounds good but, unfortunately, starts to grate, and just general embarrassment when I took her out with my friends, and wanting to stab myself in the face when out with hers. My nice, attractive ex really liked to accidentally spoil surprises for people. It was super embarrassing whenever she did it. What state is Africa in? My friend who is black is from Georgia, but I don't want to look racist and say Georgia. I had no response. It was as if she were draining the IQ points right out of me. I don't think I even understand what she was trying to say. Smoking hot, and was impressed that I could do multiplication in my head. Like 6x7. Really? 57. Such a gorgeous man but so dumb about health. After we had finished having sex one session, he asked me why I liked him to wear condoms. I explained I didn't like that he wore them. Told him I preferred sex without a condom but was worried about pregnancy and STIs, and he was like, huh, I never knew that. Immediately went to go get tested after that and had him tested as well. Had to make sure to give him a lesson about the dangers of unprotected sex before I broke up with him. I missed his body and his raw animal dumbness sometimes, but I think I made the right choice. He's actually the reason I want to be a sexual health educator now. Oh, and BTW, he hadn't caught anything. It was just dumb luck that he never did. Must be really weird to have the talk with someone you're dating, presumably around your own age. He kept pointing out I was smarter and had more degrees, and would introduce his friends as his kind of people. It was frustrating because I never brought up my academic background around him, and doesn't define me. She was gorgeous and a few years older than me. The second day of texting, she had texted me wanting to go out dancing. I replied okay, but just to let you know, I'm not that good. I have 2 left feet. She stopped replying to me. I thought to myself, no, she didn't actually think. So I replied about 3 hours later saying, just to let you know, I don't actually have 2 left feet. It's an expression. Her immediate reply back was, oh thank God. It was at that point I knew I couldn't ever. She was a model but made her decisions based on her psychic's advice. He thought women's breasts were always filled with milk, and he believed bazillion was an actual number. That it was okay to not use a condom because it wasn't God's plan for me to have a baby right now. Got right the heck out of that. When she at the end of Independence Day thought the movie was totally unrealistic because UFOs aren't that big in real life. I've never seen one that big. His friends took me aside and told me that he has a history of hitting his ex-girlfriends. One of the guys actually looked scared that they were telling me. Bye Johnny. I noped the frick out of there. Good on them for telling you. I couldn't teach her how to play Tetris. She just could not grasp the concept of the game. It frustrated me so much I stopped seeing her. When I later saw her in one of the Playboy College Girls issues, I was filled with a remarkable amount of regret. We found Giles. I am actually marrying him in 13 days. I don't think he is dumb. He is very good looking though, but some of the things that he says come off as dumb. 1. He said something as I was saying it, and when I told him I was just thinking the exact same thing, he said I have to leap here. After a few minutes of having him repeat what he just said, he finally said I can read your mind. He meant telepathy. 2. He thinks the curb on the streets are called curves. 3. He thinks raccoons are called raccoons. 4. He says the bottom line is, there are so many things, but I love them. He makes me laugh. My old friend was dating a really hot girl when one day she pulled out chocolate milk in a strainer. With said strainer, she tried to turn chocolate milk into regular milk. The next day he started questioning his choices. This girl was definitely out of my league looks wise, but she was proud of being stupid, petty about everything and annoying. But whatever, I was in my early 20s and for whatever reasons he liked me, so I went with it. Things seemed to be going fine, when one day she asked me why I always drink so much. I thought about it and realized that I literally drank every day I saw her, and never drank on the days I knew I wouldn't. I couldn't stand being around this girl unless I was drunk. Decided sex wasn't worth that kind of lifestyle and broke it off the next time I saw her. Wanted to actually be sober before I did it. There was no real final straw. It was more the fact that I couldn't possibly stand to be around her anymore. She was balls to the wall hot, like, step over your own grandmother hot. Although she could barely hold a conversation and once confused a bunch of 7-year-olds playing hockey on the professional rink for the actual game we were watching when in line for beer at intermission. When she talked, I either couldn't really understand what she was saying because it made almost no sense, or it was just the most childish joke ever. My youngest cousin had way sharper wit, but, my god, she was hot. Hands down worst decision I ever made. I know so many people like this that it makes me wonder if there's a hot gene that at the same time makes them basically retarded. On the other hand, maybe they just coast by through society based on their looks and never develop their brain. It was when she used an apostrophe to make a plural. I was in Los Angeles, she was in San Francisco and wanted to know what time it was in LA. Maybe she was just really jet lagged. She asked which was closer, Florida or the moon. Beautiful gal, she was, and amazing in bed, but a lot of the things that came out of her mouth just astounded me. I managed to put up with it for a while, simply because the sex was incredibly enjoyable, but at a certain point you take a step back and really think about the situation. The physical side may be fun, but not being able to connect with someone mentally in the long run is a grating thing. Oh, and the conversation of her believing that dinosaurs still existed, they were just hiding in the forests. That really did it in for me. He lived in his parents' basement at 21 and would frequently tell them they weren't allowed down there because it's his. The laundry room was down there. What broke the straw was the time he had trouble getting an erection, and instead of saying he was frustrated, he shook around his like he was having a seizure and screamed, "All I see is black." Sounds like he frequents 4chan. When she quit her job at a Volkswagen dealership after she found out Volkswagen was founded by Nazis. Well, at least she tried to have principles. She thought Central America wasn't a thing. She's right. North or South? Pick a dang continent. Panama. Obligatory gold edit. You're welcome for the great comment, internet stranger. Super uber hot compulsive liar. The lying is what made her dumb. Like I'd believe she was a stage designer for major tours at age 19. That's a dumbass unbelievable lie, and they kept coming. She was convinced that the moon landings were faked. I work with a guy who is otherwise fairly smart but believes this. I mentioned the retro reflectors on the moon and he said we probably went to the moon eventually. The most bizarre variant of the moon landing is fake conspiracy. That her phone kept getting heavier because of all the apps she'd installed. Gorgeous blonde, but really dumb. We met at work, and my friend was her friend's brother, so we started talking a bit. She knew her boyfriend was cheating on her, and so she cheated on him with me. I felt kinda bad, but her boyfriend was such an abusive d-bag. Then they broke up and we started going out, and then a few months later she dumped me to run away to North Dakota with him. I wasn't really mad. They were both crappy people and deserved each other. She deserves North Dakota. I had a beautiful girlfriend once that a lot of people would think is dumb. Every time she said something ridiculous I would just agree with her and carry it further as if we were both just joking in the same way. She would laugh and always had a great smile with big beautiful eyes. Whenever she got mad at me for something I would just look at her and say I didn't do. Say, that to make you upset. Why would I do that on purpose? I'm always on your side. And she'd believe me. In fact it's the truth, but so many people just can't get past the little peeves and annoyances. For her it was as simple as explaining that her BF was always on her side. For my part, whenever I started to get upset with her, I'd always internally compare what I was upset about and not having her, and she'd always win. In the end she said she wanted to be free, no reason given. As a fiend I'd always considered love as something you give, not get. So where I could have held on I just let her go. You can't own people anyway, and I was only ever her friend. It's been years and I'm still the only person she's ever had a long-term relationship with, and she's still the only person I've ever loved that much. Was against immunization. She told me to smell her hair one time, and proudly announced it has fruiticus in it. What I replied, like people do, fruiticus, it's the main ingredient. It's by Garnier. It comes in a green bottle. It was fructis. Garnier fructis. She's still banging though, just dumb. She thought the word town had 3 syllables. We were at Chipotle with friends and out of the blue she exclaims, wow, I just realized the word town has 3 syllables. Tow WWNSSS, while slowly clapping like you learned to do in elementary school. I sat here like an idiot trying to make town into 3 syllables. I married her. In United States military history, more citations for the Medal of Honor have been awarded for falling on grenades to save comrades than any other single act. I salute you, you poor bastard. Thought pasta came from plants, and different kinds of pasta, penne, rigatoni, etc., were different kinds of spaghetti plants. Is it true that you are colorblind? Me, yes. That's awesome. I look so much better in black and white. When she asked me if World War II was a war fought between England and Scotland. When she asked me if an egg was a fruit or vegetable. He was a total hottie, with wealthy parents who took us on a nice vacation one time and were super sweet people. The sex was great, my first orgasm was had, which is a big deal for a college age girl just getting past the initial awkward teenage fumbling phase. But he was stuck in the grade school mindset that being dumb was cool. I said something along the lines of making a C on my first calculus exam, and he bragged about failing an entire college pre-algebra class. I just kinda ghosted him after that. He was a model, but pretty dumb. I was getting ready for law school, but very inexperienced when it came to dating. We had a lovely time for a while. Our sexual chemistry was great. But he eventually ghosted me. A year later we chatted online to catch up, and he admitted to me that he felt that he wasn't good enough for me, and that's why he stopped talking to me. With more dating experience, I now know that we wouldn't have worked as a couple anyway. I realize now that dating someone of similar intelligence is more important than dating someone with superior looks. But dang, he sure was cute, and had a fantastic dong. You have been visited by the science doggo. Upvote now and you will get high grades and good results within the next week. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.